When Elaine bought this house, she had no idea of the historic significance. And then when she started the renovation, she began to find all these papers. And it turns out that Judge Austin Miller, the gentleman that built this house, he was a prolific writer, and that's the fact. Elaine had the people from UT and APTA and other people come down to examine the papers and so forth, and found out that they were historically true. All these generals stayed here. Logan, Grant, McPherson, and Sherman. And a couple of stories about these gentlemen. Logan was a politician before the war, and when the Civil War ended, they started here in the South what they called the Decoration Day. Logan was the one that changed it to Memorial Day a few years later. Another historical fact. Everybody knows about Grant. His favorite breakfast was cucumbers with vinegar. His favorite whiskey was Old Crow. McPherson, this general here, at the Battle of Atlanta, he was parading up in front of his troops, and they kept telling him to get behind the lines. He said, oh no, the rebels can't shoot this far. They killed him, the Battle of Atlanta, McPherson. Sherman, up here, the last one on the staircase, Judge Austin Miller was down at his plantation close to Tunica, Mississippi, a little town called Austin, Mississippi. Ms. Miller and the children were having dinner with Sherman in the dining room. And this is hard to believe, but Sherman said that all Southern women and children should be exterminated. Ms. Miller got hysterical, ran out on the sun porch, and Grant heard her crying and came down and asked her what was wrong. And she told him, and he made Sherman apologize. Sherman reluctantly did. But when he started up the staircase, he took his saber and whacked it, and this is the mark right here. We left a little mark there. A few years ago, we had it filled in because people were picking at it. It got quite large. A historical fact. And we think Grant probably stayed in the CA Miller Suite up there across from where y'all were staying, you know. Mm-hmm. And then a lady that stayed here, I told you last night, told us that in addition to Sherman doing this, that at the dining room table once, he put his spurred boot on the table and scarred the table. And all this is a fact. And what makes it so interesting, as I said in the beginning, Elaine did not know any of this. Well, y'all know that she's been president of APTA and so forth, daughter of the American Revolution. The girl, when she bought this house, it was terrible. But she made up her mind that she was going to refurbish it and preserve it for history, because we're losing so many historic places over the country. And that's what she did with this place. And she traveled all over. She found a few of the original pieces, but a lot of them were sold off down in New Orleans and so forth. But I think she deserves a compliment for what she's done with this house to preserve it.
When I started, I was working all the time anyway, but I would take one room at a time, because at night when I came home, that's when I would do my extra stuff.
One more story, ladies and young man. I'm Catholic, and my baby here is Methodist. So at Christmas, you were getting a big stuff together for my priest, you know. He loves Elaine's caramel cake, and he loves his white wine. So we had all this stuff, and I said, Elaine, find me a large bag so I can take this down to Father. She said, okay. And a little while she came back with this bag. I unfolded that sucker. I said, boy, this is perfect. You know what it had on it? Victoria's Secrets. I give this to Father. She made me give it to him.
You planned that.
It broke him up. I'm not. And he came up with a great remark. He said, I'm sorry I don't have any nuns around here to give this to.
This is the cottage. How cute. Look at the stove.
Did you see my chicken?
Oh, cute. I'm sure there's a lot of paranormal activity out here, too.
It is. There's a cat here.
Oh, this is where the cat is?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear it out here a lot of times, but I never see it.
Uh-huh.
She had that.
Oh, Well, Miss Elaine, stand right there by that fireplace and tell me who used to stay in this cabin.
Oh, the Millers, all the Millers helped. The greatest ones they had were, they loved their people
slaves,
that helped them,
uh-huh.
yeah. And in fact, we got some notes that I found upstairs where they had said, and they treated them like kings, really.
Uh-huh.
And then Mrs. Miller on the porch out there, she taught them how to read and write.
That was unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I didn't know this till I found it. This was up in the attic too. But they had taken her to the Episcopal Church and she has a certificate.
Is that right?
Yeah. She was black.
Yeah, but did she have to sit in the balcony or somewhere?
Now that I don't know.
Okay.
I just know.
But she went
because
to church.
I have her church certificate where they accepted her.
So
Is
she was
that-
a member,
Yeah.
baptized.
Yeah.
Was that Adeline?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's unusual.
It's very unusual. I've never heard of it.
But several people have said that they were good to their helpers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Adeline stayed in this cottage?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. The next time I come, I want to stay here.
I didn't know this till I found it. This was up in the attic too. But they had taken her to the Episcopal Church and she has a certificate.
Is that right?
Yeah. She was black.
Yeah, but
But they had taken her to the Episcopal Church. I was an only child and my father was in the lumber business.
Hey.
So I learned a lot that maybe most girls didn't learn. But anyway, I
so
went and got all this myself.
this is great.
Can you turn the light on again if you were one of the Miller family?
Thank you.
They turned on every time we say something about the village.
We got some action.
Oh, look at here. Thank you.
The picture coming up off the wall.
Oh, where was that? Is that in? Oh, that is in that room.
Yes,
Hey,
Don't touch it. I'm not psychic.
I'm not psychic and I'm not touching it. All right, I'm gonna put it.
Hey, it's on. Hey, it's on. Our light just came on.
Oh, light came on.
It went off. Sue, our light came on. That KT meter out there where that dog is, looks like a country dog.
See if y'all getting out and need a towel, Ethan's haven't heard.
That what?
Okay?
I got it.
Okay. What did you get in the first one's house?
I think I did.
Fit into those pockets. All these bottles of medicine. And that's what the field doctors wore when they were treating the wounded.
In the Civil
Civil
War.
War.
Oh my
And look
gosh.
at this, you can still read this label.
What's that one say?
Oh, and it's
What does that say?
blue.
Goiny Sulf.
Uh-huh.
And all of these, most of them still have medicine in them, but I'm afraid to try them.